Africa must unite. We must unite to achieve the full liberation of Africa. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana once said these words, and it was in the past when he said this. And I feel like the thing is being reinforced today by who? By Julius Malema. Guys, join me in watching this video that will tell you that Julius Malema indeed is selfless. I've always been telling you that Julius Malema is not only for the South Africans. Julius Malema is for every African. And this video will tell you that indeed the world needs Julius Malema, and he continues by the spirit of pan-Africanism to put Africans together. So I want you to watch this video, and later on I'll come and talk to you and tell you the reason as to why Julius Malema is not only a leader for South Africans but an international leader. So guys, let's dive into the video, and then wait me at the back, and then we'll talk about it.
They are threatened by African unity, because the unity of African people will mean they are equal to China, they are equal to India, they are equal to Russia, they are equal to Britain. We are an organization that wants to unify the whole of Africa, have one currency, have one parliament, have one president, and have one military command. Because the reason we're fragmented like this and we're defeated is because the enemy enjoys and thrives when we're divided. We are not a regional organization. We are an international organization. When we go everywhere in the continent, the people come out in their numbers to come and receive the message of the EFF, because we're an international organization. That's why when we sing Nkosi Sikelele Africa, there where we say Morena Boloka, you say South Africa, and we insist yes, now we insist Africa. There's no South Africa in Nkosi Sikelele that we sing. There's Africa. Because there is no place called South Africa. South Africa is a geographical concept which seeks to give you direction. It's not a name of a place. We are in Africa. So once you say Africa, you don't have to add anything before. You have covered everything, including this side of the south of Africa. Because we're an international organization. That's why the logo of the EFF has got no South African map. It has got African map. Because we're an organization that wants to unify the whole of Africa, have one currency, have one parliament, have one president, and have one military command. Because the reason we're fragmented like this and we're defeated is because the enemy enjoys and thrives when we're divided. They say to you, he says, remove borders. Why is he saying remove borders? He wants these people to come here. He wants these people to come here. There are no borders in Europe. The people who said to you, why do you want to remove borders? They don't have borders themselves. And we have not seen, because of borderless Europe, we have not seen the people of Italy moving to Britain. Because the pound is stronger, let's go to Britain than the euro. No. They've always stayed where they are. But they can eat breakfast in Italy and have lunch in Britain and have dinner in Spain without any hassle. Why? They are one people. They are enjoying each other. They embrace one another. But we must not do that. Once we do that, Malema says people must come here. They are going to take your jobs and all of that. Why are you allowing that? This Malema must be stopped. It's not true. In Lesotho, there is no fence between Free State and Lesotho. The people of Lesotho, what is the day today? Sunday. They are in Free State now as we speak. Around 5, 6, Bazopinda. Go back to Lesotho. There's no problem. They are together. They are one thing. So why didn't they move from Lesotho into Free State before even Malema existed and the EFF existed? Because there's never been a fence. There's no fence. Mashaba showed you. He went to Limpopo and said, yeah, look, there's no fence here between Zimbabwe and Limpopo. But when you go into Zimbabwe, there are still people there in Zimbabwe. They are staying there. Yet Mashaba confirmed there is no fence. And without fence, these people are going to come here. Malema says they must come here. There is no fence. Why are they not coming now? There is no fence. I said to you, mark that, we are led by fools. Because there is no fence, but there is a gate. We are led by fools. There is no fence, but there is a gate. When you go home today, you arrive at your home from this meeting, you just find the fence is gone. Only the gate is standing alone like this. And then, what do? Without fence, you still open the gate to. Hey, we're in a state of madness. Why, if these borders mean nothing, why are they opposed to them? They are threatened by African unity. Because the unity of African people will mean they are equal to China, they are equal to India, they are equal to Russia, they are equal to Britain. How can Swaziland tell Britain anything with that size of a population? They won't listen to them. But once we come together, we are billions of people who can confront the status quo globally. So, don't listen to the nonsense that says, these people are going to come here, they are going to take our jobs and all of that. Anyway, these people have been here. The economy of South Africa that was established by Rhodes, Cecil John Rhodes, established the economy and the economic system of South Africa using Southern Africa. There's no nation that has not contributed in the gold and diamonds which made what South Africa is today. That's why there is a language called Fanaka Law. That language did not come from the EFF. We found it. Why? Africans found themselves together and had to develop a language which will make it easy for them to communicate as colleagues. They've been here. So there's no one, and they've never been here with their families. They are here to work, and then when they are off, they go back to their families. No one will ever overburden your health system because these people are not here. They are searching for greener pastures. They are going back. If you follow the logic that says people move to areas where there is richness and that area is more richer than where you come from, then let's look at Limpopo. Limpopo is extremely poor compared to Gauteng. There is no border between Limpopo and Gauteng. There is no fence. But the people of Limpopo never moved from Limpopo to go and settle in Gauteng because Gauteng is more richer than Limpopo. So if this logic that Nigerians are going to move from Nigeria to here because they are looking for the richness here, why are the people of Limpopo not being the first ones to move into Gauteng to go and look for those richness? So do not follow the logic that doesn't work, because its aim is to keep us divided and control the whole of Africa.
So the first way in which Malema still is not only the South African leader but an international leader, Julius Malema perpetrates pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism, we have one Africa, one people. You know, this is what Julius Malema have always been saying, and it is also reinforced in the speech that he's giving, that we Africans, we need to unite, because that's what we should do as Africans. And it goes a long way by attending different places in Africa, moving to different parts of the world, pointing out leaders who fall back to what they should supposed to do. And this shows you how Julius Malema is for Pan-Africanism. This shows you how Julius Malema is for people. This shows you how Julius Malema only wants good for Africans in general. Julius Malema always fights against the economic disparity which is happening in South Africa. That's why he have a lot of land reforms which has to be done with, which has to be corrected. But do you know, it's not only that. Julius Malema also fights for economic emancipation across all Africans. That's why he keeps on talking that we should have one currency which is strong against the euros, which is strong against the dollar. And with this economic emancipation, Julius Malema always addresses the things to do with removing trade tariffs from African countries, so that we can have a smooth transactions amongst develop our African nation, our exchange programs amongst Africans by ourselves, instead of just taking people to the United States or other European countries. And this economic emancipation has proven that Julius Malema, it's not only for South Africans, but also for Africans. Remember, he said that there is no place called South Africa, because the people who decided to come with the name South Africa were Africans before. The people who decided to become by the name Kenya were Africans before. So there is no place called South Africa. And also add by saying there is no place called Kenya. We are all Africans, and these boundaries were brought about by the colonialists who made this division amongst Africans themselves. Number 3, land reforms. Yes, we might be hearing Julius Malema talking about land reforms in South Africa, especially for the marginalized group or the disadvantaged group, what happened during the apartheid time. But if you listen closely, it's not only for South Africans. Yes, because charity begins at home. Julius Malema lives in South Africa. He's a South African by nationality. So he has to advocate for the rights for the marginalized groups. But he also talks about people who are historically marginalized, and land restitution. This thing has to happen to the people who are generally marginalized in Africa, which is not only in South Africa. And by this, Julius Malema have been doing this by pointing out corrupt leaders, by pointing out leaders who grab people's land, by talking about the colonialists that should return Africans' land. And Julius Malema has been a pioneer in doing this, and is the living enigma that continues perpetrating the unity of Africans and restoring, things to do with our land, restitution, reforms. And I think this is important for Africans, because he's not only fighting for South Africans, but he's also fighting for Africans in general. Fourth one, I'll talk about anti-imperialism. Julius Malema is known for fighting against people who exploit African resources, not only in South Africa. He has been calling out those France leaders. He has been calling out people who take mineral resources from Africa. And he's always against the idea that Westerners come to Africa, and this thing is helpful to Africans, because Africans are always exploited, and they're not seeing this. Julius Malema also calls out African leaders who lies with these puppets, and they end up manipulating or taking out Africans' mineral resources. And with this anti-imperialism movement that Julius Malema have strike in Africa really shows you that Julius Malema is a selfless person, and he is not only for the good of South Africa, but is for the good of all Africans. And I believe that's what people should do. The fifth is African Renaissance. Julius Malema always calls out Africans to wake up, call Africans to see their potential, call Africans to know that they are equally capable and able, just like any other person that they see. By this, Julius Malema has encouraged Africans to stand up, to work hard, to build their own nation, to build their own African countries. And this renaissance, it's important for Africans, for us to wake up, to take up the things that we were afraid of. And generally, this will lead to the development of Africa. So he has always been advising Africa, this is the time to wake up. This is the time to stand together as Africans. And this wake-up call, he has always been giving Africans. And I believe that it is for the good of Africa, but not only South Africa, but the entire continent, Africa. So with that being said, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. And if you watched the video until this part, kindly consider subscribing to my channel. This is Eugene from Kenya. We are One Africa. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.